I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jason.
I'm a registered nurse.
And I do corporate event planning.
The reason I wanted to do a natural birth was just to prove to myself, I guess, that I could do it. I asked my midwife at one of our first appointments what the best class to take would be for a natural childbirth, and she recommended HypnoBirthing. So I had my doctor's appointment at 41 weeks. I was 2 centimeters dilated and 75% effaced. So we went ahead and got the membrane sweep because we thought that would get things moving along. The midwife was very excited and she said that she expected to see us in the next 48 hours at the hospital. I definitely felt more pressure after that. The next morning I woke up about 5 a.m. It wasn't a Braxton Hicks and I could definitely tell that the tightening was a little bit different. I really wanted to tell Jason right away, but I thought about, okay, well maybe I could just wait for him to go to work and call him back later when things pick up a little bit more. But I was having contractions about every 4 to 5 minutes, so I was pretty uncomfortable. So I got out of bed, went over to his side of the bed and laid with him, and he could feel my stomach tightening, so he just knew right away. And he kind of said to me, he's like, oh, this is it, huh? And I'm like, yep, it's happening. So he stayed home. Earlier on, I was trying to stay in bed and trying to sleep as much as I could, petting our dog to keep my muscles relaxed while Jason made breakfast, got snacks ready, made some electrolyte drink for me, and then the contractions never got further apart. They pretty much stayed consistently about 4 to 5 minutes apart.
I was freaking out, so I called our doula at probably noon. She basically said, keep me updated, you know, she's not in active labor, so. And then she came over probably 2 o'clock because I was losing my mind, so I needed some help.
So we kind of just used the exercise ball. The position for me that I loved was like on my knees with my arms over the exercise ball, just kind of, I called it like wagging my tail. I would kind of just swish my hips around and do like cat and cow, and that really seemed to help. And that's the position that I did not like during class. So I was very surprised at that. So around 4:30.
Right after we went on a walk.
Yeah, things were still kind of like...
It was staying pretty consistent, so.
Yeah, it was pretty consistent, so Heather suggested that we go on a walk. So we took a couple laps around the complex, and I was resting on trees during my contractions and resting on Jason if there wasn't a tree. But once we came back up, that's when the shift really happened. So they were getting significantly more intense.
Yeah, so we were just trying to keep everything calm.
Yeah, we had the lights dimmed, fireplace on, diffuser going, music playing, soft music.
Trying to wait out rush hour basically to go to the hospital.
This is where things get a little fuzzier for me. Basically, Heather was kind of asking like, well, we can go whenever you feel like it. So I was like, okay. Didn't I say like 3 more contractions?
Yeah, I just sort of planned out a few more, and then we kind of started getting, they started getting things set up for us to go to the hospital. And then we got to the hospital. I had my 40 blinks on, my noise canceling headphones on in the car. And I did get lost on the way. My navigation decided to send me to the wrong hospital. I don't know why, but she has no idea about that.
I felt this stop and I was like, why aren't we getting out of the car? And then we started going again. So after the fact, I was like, oh, that's what was happening during that time. Then he gets the wheelchair for me and is wheeling me in, and I can only imagine what the people in the hospital were thinking.
Lots of
because
looks.
I had my headphones on, my eye mask on, just groaning, just all through the hospital while he was pushing me.
With the blanket over her, you could just see she was pregnant.
Had no idea that I was pregnant. I was just yelling through the hospital.
Yeah.
Then we got into triage. We were in triage for hours.
2 hours.
I definitely, things are more clear in triage because everything just kind of slowed down for me. And as soon as we went in, I had my eye mask on and everything, and Jason was like, okay, TV needs to go off, lights need to go down, people need to be quiet. Like, the nurse kind of looked at me all sideways, like, what do you mean? So, but it happened, so. Yeah. And then they decided to admit me. I was at 5 centimeters. 5 or 6. 5, I think it was 5. Yeah. So then we went to our room. Then I was on my side for a while. I had the peanut ball because I was hooked up to the monitors just to make sure everything was okay. And then I started to get a little bit discouraged after like 4 hours or so.
4 hours.
I think he could tell because he got into bed with me behind me, and then he was sleeping in between the contractions. And I turned to him and I said, like, I can't do it. I was just confused. I was like, you can't do what? But then our doula was over the shoulder basically saying like, you've been doing it. So I was like,
you've been doing it. So she just spoke through me. It was beautiful.
Yeah, basically the whole, like, while we were here, I remember Heather and everything that she was doing. At the hospital, she was just basically coaching Jason to say and do all of the right things.
So I looked great during that time.
So he was just perfect the whole time. So Heather was suggested, like, oh, well, why don't we get you checked and see where you're at? Because she had a feeling I was pretty far along. So they checked me and they said I was at 9 centimeters. The midwife said I would be pushing in about 2 hours, which I was like super excited hearing 9 centimeters and then super not excited to hear 2 more hours because I thought like, oh, 10 minutes, we should be done here. Just needed kind of a change of pace after that. So I went to the bathroom. I was in there for a couple contractions and kind of let Jason know I was feeling a little bit trapped being on my side. So he came out and told the nurse and Heather like, oh, she wants to go back to the all fours on the exercise ball. So they stripped the linen, got the exercise ball, like completely switched everything out for us. Then when I came out, I was feeling much, much better.
So you were working for a little while and then all of a sudden you started feeling the urge to push really, really hard and you kind of communicated that.
But I also had to pee before that. So I went to the bathroom again and had a couple contractions to the point where the nurse came in and she was like, you need to get out of that bathroom and back to the bed on the next contraction. She didn't want a toilet baby. Then contractions, very, very close together. Exercise ball, I just remember it disappearing and I was kind of like this on the back of the bed, almost like bending down with each contraction. Heather suggested I get checked again, so I got checked again and the nurse said I was at 10 centimeters. And I could push, so I just kept pushing. So it was such a contrast from the whole time throughout labor, like just trying to relax as much as I could. I kept wanting to grab onto the side rail, to the blanket, to a bunch of things, and Jason would just kind of touch my hand, which would remind me like, okay, just chill, be relaxed. And then when I was at 10 centimeters, the nurse was like, okay, you can push. So when I started pushing, it was like, oh my gosh, like, this is what I've been wanting to do this whole time. So it felt amazing to finally start pushing. Basically, when I was pushing, my head was in between the pillows. So I wasn't getting very good oxygen, which was showing in the monitoring strip. So the nurse literally just put the oxygen mask in between the pillows right where my head was before. So she said, in between each contraction, just put your face there. And I was like, okay. I heard Heather saying like, deep breath for Wesley on the outside. Probably about six pushes or so.
The whole time the nurse was trying to page the midwife and she was like, oh, I'll be right there, but I don't think she took it quite as seriously as she may have.
I was really, really pushing. I remember feeling like, okay, he's getting much, much lower, and then I just feel a pop, and then I hear people say, okay, his head's out, and then I guess that's when the midwife came in.
Yeah, and she was diving through her gown, and then she hadn't gotten her gloves on, and then it was the final push, and
everyone was telling me to wait and hold on, but I was not hearing them at all. And then Jason told me to gasp.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
So
must have heard it somewhere.
So I did that, and I kind of understood what he was asking me to do, so I did hold off a little bit, but then I pushed one more time and I felt his shoulders kind of pop out. I kept wanting to like turn around because I just wanted to hold my baby, but they were like, okay, be careful, don't get tangled in the cord, and they had to facilitate me to turn safely. And
it was then, like Twister, passing him through the legs.
Yeah.
And that's fun.
Make sure he doesn't get all tangled up. They had to, his cord was around his neck, right?
His neck and his wrist.
So it was around his arm twice and his neck once. So they had to undo that. Then they finally put him on me, and it was just crazy, like 9 months of this baby inside me and then 24 hours of labor, and he's here, like right on top of me. It was just like, you can't even describe the feeling of it.
Meanwhile, I'm useless. I'm just bawling my eyes out because my baby just got here.
I looked at him and I said, like, we did it. My favorite tool was definitely the doula. We had Heather Taylor. She was awesome. She was visible when I needed her to be visible, just to like know she was there, but then she knew exactly when to stand back and kind of speak through Jason. So Jason was saying the perfect things. Taking the class definitely kind of got rid of any fear that might have been there. And you have to take the class, and you have to do more than just take the class. You have to actually do what the class is teaching you to do. Yeah, and you have to believe in what the class is teaching you, and you have to do the affirmations and all the stuff that goes along with it. Exercise ball was my favorite. I loved it.
Noise canceling headphones.
Noise canceling headphones were super helpful. And the 40 blinks, especially like going into the hospital, because you bypass all those bright lights and all the sounds, and you're not worried about people watching you groan through the hospital because you're just blind to it all.
I guess just using everything at your disposal, like the rolling in a wheelchair makes so you can have the headphones and the 40 blinks on, and
just planning ahead and making sure you kind of have your game plan for getting into the hospital.
Advice for parents. Before, it's all about communication, knowing each other. You can't support your partner if you don't know their needs, you know.
I feel like communicating afterwards is really important too, though, because even like nonverbal communication, making sure that you're letting your partner know, like, hey, I need a break. Can you take the baby while I have a shower? Showers make you feel like a whole new person.
I think communication is just key in the whole process.